Was any of it real? I'm often asked in consultation by people, HG, but was any of it real? And I explain, of course it was real, you didn't imagine it. I think what you're really wanting to know is, was any of it genuine? And indeed, that is what is being asked. People look at their golden period and then the devaluation. And they cannot understand how somebody can go from treating you so magnificently to treating you so awfully. A lack of understanding about narcissism, the imposition of your own worldviews, and the obscuring impact of emotional thinking results in you struggling to comprehend how somebody can go from golden to leaden, from white to black, how you're viewed as hero and then zero, so quickly, so completely, so savagely. And then they wonder, well, I perhaps have caused a problem which resulted in me being devalued, but at least the golden period, that was genuine. He meant all of those things, didn't he? The great sex she gave me, that was something real and tangible. No. It was a manipulation. All of it. What is important for you to understand, that when you're dealing with a narcissist, where the narcissist is involved with another individual, then manipulation will be taking place, either benign or malign, unless you're not threatening our control. If control has been asserted and you are continuing to signal that you're under control, there is no need for a continued manipulation. But in order to bring you under control, or to deal with a threat to our control, a manipulation must be utilised. And in some instances it will be a benign one, more usually a malign one, particularly where you are threatening our control. But where we're bringing you under control in the beginning, of course, it behoves us to utilise benign manipulations. After all, take for instance, if I went into a bar and found an attractive lady and sidled up to next to her and said, "Hello, my name's H.G. Tudor, I'm a narcissistic psychopath and I'm going to be really nice to you for a while and then I'll be absolutely horrible to you. How do you fancy being my girlfriend?" She'll probably scream, throw her dirty martini over me and run away. Accordingly, we have to draw you in by pouring some sugar on you. We cannot be red of tooth and claw all of the time, and therefore that golden period has to be one where we flatter you, compliment you, treat you well. And to you, it seems genuine, but it's not. Why? Well, it's because a narcissist is doing it, although, of course, at the time, you don't realise that. But once you become fixed with the knowledge that you're dealing with a narcissist, and of course utilising my narc detector as the prime way of determining that, then what you must understand is that every interaction that you had with the narcissist was one whereby there was a manipulation taking place, malign or benign. When we first draw you in, we need to get you under control as quickly as we can, and the most appropriate way to do that is effectively to be delightful, lovely, kind, loving and nice to you. Buy you things, compliment you, take you to great places, interesting places, mirror your likes back at you by pretending that we like them too, giving you great sex, talking about interesting subjects, being supportive, taking an interest in what you do. All of the various manifestations, but none of them are genuine. It's all being done to manipulate you. Of course, the lesser and mid-range narcissists do this unconsciously. They don't realise that they're manipulating you. The greater and the ultra do. And we recognise that it is all part of the means of drawing you in, controlling you, and owning you. None of it is genuine. It's all an illusion. We are not part-time narcissists. It is not the case that we started off by being very pleasant to you and something went wrong, but what happened at the beginning was actually genuine, and what came later was something else. No. What you experienced at the beginning, in effect, although it looked pleasant, it actually wasn't, because it was false. It is basically like someone pretending to be your friend when they hate you. And they just create the veneer, create the impression of being nice to you. It was never genuine. And therefore, although your emotional thinking will try and cling onto the idea that it was genuine, that actually all of that was meaningful and purposeful and built upon something tangible and genuine and therefore can be recovered, it cannot. It was manufactured, fabricated, created, all part of what we do to draw you in under our control and gain the prime aims from you. A good way of looking at it is in this way. If you were dealing with someone genuine, then they would not have behaved in such an explosive, firework, glitter-busting, unicorn-riding, rainbow-spraying manner. It would have moved at a slower pace. Yes, there had been little flashes of romance here and there, but there wouldn't have been the monopolisation of your time, there wouldn't have been the exhibition of a sense of entitlement, there would have been the incessant texting, there would have been the bribery through gifts being bought for you when it's not your birthday, not Christmas, you haven't achieved anything and there's no anniversary to celebrate, you wouldn't get 4 gifts in 3 weeks. There isn't the flowery language, the financial largesse, the declarations of being soulmates that you have been sent from the sky above and that we have been caused to be ride into your lives in order to save you, protect you, and so forth. All of this, the glitz and the glamour and the speed, are indicative of it being manufactured. This has to be done to get you under control, because we can't take the chance of you worming away from us, and therefore we blitzkrieg you into submission, i.e. through the love bombing. So, first of all, even though it felt wonderful to you, the fact that it happened in such a rapid and sustained fashion, the talking about living together after 10 days, wanting to marry you, the fact of saying I want to have a child with you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, after only just getting to know somebody, is all indicative of the individual most likely being a narcissist. And when you put it all together, you can see that that golden period was actually manufactured. The other thing to consider is this. Where you were dealing with a normal, empathic person, first of all, they wouldn't have love-bombed you because they don't need to control you and they exhibit emotional empathy. They recognise the boundaries, they don't behave with a sense of entitlement, and of course they don't manipulate. So you wouldn't have experienced all of that love-bombing. But moreover, an empathic person would not then have abused you. The fact that you went from a position of being treated like the Queen of Sheba to then a miserly peasant demonstrates that what came first wasn't genuine, because anybody that exhibits emotional empathy would not have behaved in that way. And accordingly, it's very important for you to understand that. It isn't the case, as I mentioned, that we're part-time narcissists. We're narcissists all of the time. And therefore, what happened at the beginning, if we actually had emotional empathy for you, one, it wouldn't have been the love bombing, but it would have been a steady, more gradual, patient way of getting to know one another. And then you would not have been abused. The fact that somebody abuses you means that what came first wasn't genuine, because anybody that is genuine would not have behaved that way. They would have kept on being decent to you. It wouldn't have been all the huge glittery stuff, but it would have been solid, respectful, decent, etc. And the fact that somebody habitually and repeatedly abused you over and over again in lots of different ways, cheated on you, hit you, triangulated you, ignored you, didn't call you back, made you feel worthless, you know, all the various manipulations that I've referred to, the fact that they have done all of those things must tell you that what came first wasn't genuine. A genuine, empathic, decent person wouldn't behave that way. And therefore, that is the biggest indicator for you that what came first wasn't actually genuine, is because what happened thereafter must mean it couldn't have been. Somebody with emotional empathy won't behave that way. Somebody without emotional empathy, i.e. us, the narcissists, will. And that is how you understand that when you ask the question, was any of it real? You should be asking, was any of it genuine? And you now know that it was not. It is difficult to grasp that because you experienced it. But remember the distinction between real and genuine. You could have 2 Louis Vuitton handbags. One is genuine, the other is a counterfeit. They look the same, they feel the same, they weigh the same, they even smell the same. But one is counterfeit and one is genuine. It's the same with us. We present something that looks genuine, and you have to experience it. It has to feel real in order to draw you in. But the behavior that comes at the beginning, because of the way that it equates to love bombing, demonstrates it's not genuine, that is not predicated on emotional empathy, and then thereafter the devaluation that follows also demonstrates that what went first could not be genuine, because an empathic person wouldn't behave that way. And if you still struggle with this because of your inexperience of understanding narcissism and the impact of emotional thinking, which doesn't want you to understand this concept, it wants you to keep thinking that it was genuine, that somehow you can get it back, and that somehow perhaps you've even messed it up, consult with me, and I'll enable you to get beyond this difficult point, as I have with many, many people, enabling them to make sense of this difficult situation, and then enabling them to move forward and to secure freedom. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.